We all want to feel better. We try the new habit, we change the diet, we change the job, we change the partner, we change the city, we change the routine, the schedule, the morning, the night. And the same low background unease follows us into the new life. We assume the next change will be the one that finally works. It usually isn't. Before we go any further, hear this. If you fix the surface of your life and still feel quietly unwell, the issue is not what you think. Your suffering isn't being caused by what's happening. It's being caused by the thinking you're doing about what's happening. In his book, Don't Believe Everything You Think, Joseph Nguyen makes a distinction so simple it sounds trivial at first, and then, once you really see it, becomes one of the most useful ideas you will ever encounter. There is a difference between a thought and thinking. A thought is something that arises in your mind on its own without your effort. It comes. It goes. You did not make it. You will not stop it. Thoughts pass through a human mind the way weather passes through a sky. Thinking is what you do with the thought after it arrives. The rehearsing, the analyzing, the replaying, the projecting forward, the building of stories on top of the thought, and stories on top of those stories, until you have constructed an entire mental world about something that, at this moment, is not actually happening. Thoughts do not cause suffering. Thinking does. That is the whole book compressed into a sentence. The rest of this video is how the mechanic actually works, and what to do about it. Number 1. The layer. Almost everything you experience as life is happening in 2 layers at once. The first layer is the actual moment, the temperature of the room, the sensations in your body, the sound around you, the thing you are doing, the conversation in front of you. This layer is, by itself, rarely a problem. People in genuinely difficult circumstances often report that the actual moments, when they are inside them, are bearable, sometimes even peaceful. The second layer is the thinking you are doing about the first layer. What this means, what it implies, what it reminds you of, what it might lead to, what you should have done differently, what the other person was really thinking, what it says about you. The second layer is where almost all human suffering lives. You are not suffering because of the moment you are in. You are suffering because of the moment your mind has built on top of the moment you are in. When you remove the second layer, the first one almost always turns out to be something you can be in. This is not a slogan. It is the central observation of contemplative traditions for thousands of years, and the central finding of modern cognitive therapy. Nguyen's contribution is to name it as plainly as anyone has ever named it. Number 2. The story machine. Your mind is a machine that produces stories about what is happening. This is its main function, not perception, not analysis, story. The mind takes whatever data is coming in, the situation, the comment, the silence, the look on someone's face, and within milliseconds, it has produced a story about what it means. The story arrives feeling like reality. You did not experience yourself constructing it. By the time you become aware of it, it is already installed. This would be fine if the story were accurate. Most of the time, it isn't. The story is built from old material, past hurts, old beliefs, survival defaults from childhood. The story is not a description of the present moment. The story is a pattern from the past, projected onto the present, with the moment in front of you serving as a screen. Then you start to think about the story. You react to it. You feel about it. You make decisions inside it. And the original moment, the only actual reality available to you, has been left behind entirely. You are not living your life. You are living a commentary about your life, generated by a machine that is doing exactly what it was built to do. Number 3. The escape that doesn't work. Most people, when they discover they are suffering inside their own thinking, try to solve it by thinking better. They try to think positively. They try to think rationally. They try to challenge negative thoughts and replace them with affirmations. They try to argue with their inner critic. They try to construct better stories. This does not work, long term. The reason is structural. You cannot exit thinking by thinking. Trying to fix the thinking with more thinking just generates more thinking, which is more of the very thing causing the suffering. The harder you try to think your way out, the deeper you go in. This is why so many people in self-improvement get exhausted. They are running a treadmill made of their own minds. Every solution to a thought creates more thoughts. Every reframe is another act of thinking. The exit they keep looking for cannot be found in the direction they keep running. The exit is in the opposite direction, not better thinking, less thinking, or, more precisely, recognizing the thinking as it happens and choosing, in that recognition, not to engage with it. Number 4. The 2 relationships. There are two possible relationships with a thought. In the first, the thought arrives and you become it. You are angry, not aware that anger is passing through. You are afraid, not aware that fear is passing through. You are convinced, not aware that conviction is passing through. The thought owns the moment. You are inside it. In the second, the thought arrives and you notice it. You see it arrive. You see it ask for engagement. You see, almost as if from a small distance, that this is a thought generated by a mind doing what minds do, and that it does not require your participation. The first relationship is what most people live in, most of the time. The second is a skill. This skill is the entire content of meditation traditions across every culture humans have ever built. It is the central technique of cognitive behavioral therapy in its sharper forms. It is what Nguyen in his book points at directly. The skill is not complicated. It is, in fact, simpler than almost anything else you will ever try to learn. But it is deeply unfamiliar because almost no one was taught growing up that there is any difference between you and the thoughts moving through you. The shift from the first relationship to the second is the shift Nguyen is describing. It is also quietly the only durable solution to most of your suffering. Number 5. Why your mind resists. If this is so simple, why doesn't it just happen? Because your mind believes that thinking is keeping you safe. For most of your life, thinking has been rewarded. Thinking solved school problems. Thinking earned grades. Thinking made you employable. Thinking analyzed threats. Thinking predicted other people's behavior. Thinking is how you survived, succeeded, and remained in control. The mind has correctly observed that thinking produces useful outputs, and it has, over decades, generalized this into an unconscious belief that more thinking is always better. Applied to interior life, this belief is catastrophic. Inside, thinking does not solve problems, it generates them. The mind, trying to use its survival tool on a domain where the tool doesn't work, just keeps grinding. The grinding feels like productive effort. It produces nothing but suffering. When you first start to notice your thinking and choose not to engage with it, the mind will resist hard. It will tell you that you need to think about this. It will tell you that not thinking is irresponsible. It will tell you that something bad will happen if you don't keep processing this thing right now. None of those warnings are accurate inside the present moment. All of them are the mind defending the tool it knows how to use against a quieter way of being it has not been trained to recognize. The resistance is not a problem. The resistance is information. It tells you that you are pointing in the right direction. Number 6. The return. The technique, if it can be called one, is simple. When you notice that you are suffering, you do not try to fix the thinking. You return your attention to what is actually happening right now in this room, in this body, in this moment. The sensation of your feet on the floor, the temperature of the air, the sound nearest to you, the actual circumstances of the actual present. That is the entire move. The thinking will return. You will notice it. You will return again. The thinking will return faster sometimes with more intensity, because the part of you that uses thinking to feel in control will fight harder when it senses its grip loosening. You return again. Each return is a small repetition. The repetitions build, slowly, a new default. The default eventually becomes the place you live from instead of the place you visit. Nguyen's framing of this is gentle, almost embarrassingly simple. Notice you are thinking. Stop. That's it. The simplicity is the point. The mind, looking for something complex to engage with, will skip over this because it sounds too small to be powerful. The smallness is what makes it work. There is nothing here for the mind to grab onto and convert into more thinking. You do not have to silence your mind. You only have to stop believing that everything it produces is true, important, or worth following. Number 7. The quiet life. What happens over time is not what people expect. You do not become numb. You do not become disengaged. You do not stop having thoughts. You do not stop caring. The mind keeps generating thoughts. The world keeps producing events that the mind has opinions about. What changes is your relationship with all of it. The bad day arrives and you notice the mind beginning to build its story. You don't move in. The hurtful comment lands and you feel the sting, and you notice the impulse to construct 20 paragraphs of meaning around it, and you let it pass instead. The old fear visits and you recognize it, and it doesn't capture you the way it used to. The world is still the world. You are just no longer adding the second layer to every moment of it. Underneath all the thinking you used to do, there has always been a quieter version of you. The thinking covered it up so thoroughly for so long that you forgot it was there. As the thinking quiets, that version comes forward. Not dramatically, slowly. You begin to recognize it as the part of you that was waiting underneath the noise the whole time. That is the gift the book is pointing at. Not a better life, the same life, with the second layer removed. The choice. You can keep treating your thinking as reality and trying to fix your life by fixing your thinking. It will not work. It has not worked for anyone who has tried it. Or you can begin to notice. The next thought that arrives, you can see it as a thought. The next time you catch yourself spiraling, you can return to what is actually happening right now in front of you. The next time the mind insists that this is urgent and you have to think about it, you can recognize the insistence as another thought and not move into it. This is small. It is also the entire path. If this video shifted something, leave it a like. Subscribe to Living in Atoms. We break down the mechanics behind the systems running your life, one at a time. And share this with one person who needs to hear it, because the second layer is sitting on top of someone you love right now, whether they can see it or not. You are not suffering because of what is happening to you. You are suffering because of what you are thinking about what is happening to you. The thought is not the problem. The thinking is, and the door has always been open.